It's the final project for one of our courses, and it's going to be, we're all going to write our own separate stories, and they'll all be submitted to our professor, which is in a closed kind of circuit publication system within the university's, what's it called? Moodle. It's not publicly accessible, but then it potentially could be published externally. If you guys are comfortable with that, we have a release form, which I may have already emailed to you, but if I haven't, I will email it to you this Savo, which outlines what you're comfortable with us doing with this recording. If you're not comfortable with us submitting a publication elsewhere outside of the university, then you're welcome to just tick that box and sign off, and we will note that. But if you are, then that's fantastic. We could potentially submit this to publication in other places. So I'll send that through to you. But the basic gist is that it's for our university assignment.
Yep.
And we're fine. All right, great. So we want to talk about data journalism. Since I met you guys at the Gen conference, I thought it would be so fitting to get your insight, considering you guys won. So can we just confirm your position titles at the West Australian?
Yeah, sure. I'm a UI designer at the West, and Joe, you are...
And I'm head of digital development.
Okay. What does UI designer stand for, Sophia?
User interface, so front-end designer.
Okay. So how important is this relationship? Sorry,
go on.
How important is the relationship between journalists, programmers, designers, developers, and the like, do you think, in this emerging data journalism kind of sector?
Hugely important, I think, in that it's always going to be a collaborative exercise. And I think everybody has a different perspective to contribute to something that ultimately needs to cover a lot of bases. I mean, data journalism especially is really multifaceted. It contains extremely kind of scientific or detail-oriented pursuits, but the best data journalism is kind of when data that is otherwise quite complex and looks very mundane and full of details that aren't very comprehensible are simplified down to something that's very straightforward and communicates in a very human way. So I think in the case of someone like Sophia, who is very human-facing in terms of what her work does and what it's capable of, it is really about sort of having that exchange between some people who are very much on the machine end, looking at data at its purest form, all the way up to, what is a user thinking and how can we best make this something that they can process from their end.
Does interactive data, like these visualizations and things like that, do you think they help consumers understand information in the news better than traditional journalism, traditional storytelling?
Yeah, definitely. I think also because we have to be aware of the fact that journalism is rapidly changing in the fact that it's no longer a print medium. In fact, it's becoming more prominent as a digital medium than anything. We provide a way for journalists, we sort of provide a style guide for journalists to actually be able to present their media in the best possible way online so that people access it through a more easily understood way than they ever would have using print, especially because we have the ability to do things like motion graphics or going further than just one solid static image, and that can help display data journalism in a way that we've never had the opportunity to before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think having things like, interaction is a really key concept. You used the word before, and I think interaction is just something that really opens up another dimension to telling a story. Even if it's something as simple as just, the user being able to interact with something and seeing, being able to compare between two states. That's obviously a very common form of storytelling online is, comparisons, before, after, or, two different situations. And you see how much more that gets the message across as compared to something that's on the page and very static. I think there's huge potential there.
And not to mention, we also have now the added interaction of touch using things like iPads, which can take data journalism and visualization to a completely other dimension that we wouldn't have had before, using even more sensors.
Should we fear that these kind of data visualizations, these content aggregation systems that are based off traditionally off these data sets, the scraped data sets, could make traditional journalist roles redundant?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't see that at all. In fact, I think, if anything, I mean, our experience at the summit over in Sydney really emphasised just how rich the exchange of technical versus, I suppose, storytelling. I mean, there was a story to tell, even though it was one about a newsroom with Ben over in Sydney. It was one where we just went, wow, this dynamic is far richer for having these different perspectives and somebody that's going to be thinking about, what's the story? How do we unpack this as a I don't see that as ever going away. This is never going to be about algorithms just plugging the best information to feed into websites, because there's always going to be different ways to present it and different messages to bring across.
And how is Beat going? Have you rolled it out to the newsroom?
Beat is going. It's churning away, and I actually checked in the back end, and it's got thousands of data points being collected. So it'll be quite interesting to do a retrospective. We haven't had the newsroom fully get trained on it. One of our challenges is that Ben has gone on a 6-week international tour of various newsrooms as part of a sort of fellowship he's been granted, which is quite exciting for him. But it means that he hasn't had the opportunity to really sell it in to the level that we wanted to before it became part of our workflow process. Yeah. But it's sitting there and doing its job. People are playing with it a bit, but it hasn't been formally made part of the toolkit yet.
Do you think something like Beat, the back end of that, can be used and applied to different data sets in a similar way?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's basically what we've done is taken something that's very open source and applied it specifically to one function in our newsroom. And one of the amazing things about having available open source code bases like our one is that you can apply a completely different data set and have it map in a similar way across a geographical map. So yeah, definitely.
I think that's one of the really exciting things for digital enabled newsrooms is giving them tools that can work with massive amounts of data really efficiently. In previous organisations that I've worked for, the kinds of light bulb moments that happen when you start feeding in live data sources and people are able to visualise that and begin to see trends emerge in real time. They begin to know what questions to ask as much as what answers to look for. So it's really not about the data points as it is about just hunting for a good angle to get out of that data, and that's something that you ideally want to be in the hands of everyone in the room.
Are you guys pumped to go to Vienna too? Just on a side note.
Very, very much so.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
It still doesn't feel very real yet. It's kind of like
we're still booking flights and stuff.
I bet. When is it again? Is it in June?
Yeah,
June. So it's coming out really rapidly.
Goodness gracious, that's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. I've been following the tweets and the comments from the other summits that have been going on, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of interesting applications brought to the table.
Yeah, definitely. I think the others that happened after the Sydney event have been fascinating because there have obviously been different angles that they've applied to the idea, although the framework is the same. Looking forward to seeing especially what the theme ends up being for this one in Vienna, because we still don't have any insights on that. So.
Yeah.
So you won't be bringing beat, you'll be making a new one, is that right?
Yeah, we have to bring something totally new to the table, which I think is good. I don't think you want to just kind of trot out the same IP. You need to keep it interesting.
Very cool.
But, it's been very exciting. I mean, across the business, it's been really. It's been great to have enthusiasm from everyone across the executive team, across to a lot of people that have seen the potential that this kind of win offers. But it's been quite funny watching them go, okay, how do we start getting the brainstorming happening for the next one? And we're like, but we came up with the other one on the go today. We don't necessarily want to just try and stifle that. Almost the ideas that you come up with under pressure are the ones that are more pure, that are better, that are more robust than something that's had weeks to be thought about and developed.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so excited for you guys, and I'm so excited to hear about what happens in Vienna. I think that's all we need for right now. We've got a lot to work with there. We don't want to take you guys away from your going-ons. So we will let you go, but we'll be sure to send you through the articles, each of our individual articles, if you want, when we're done with them, as well as the release form. I'll send that through to this afternoon. So if you guys can just sign that and just scan it back to us, that would be perfect.
Yep. That will be easily done.
All right. Beautiful.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck with the story.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Bye.
Okay, bye.